Hello and welcome to the Carla Murphy Show, Uniquely Different. I'm your host, Carla A. Murphy. We are glad that you decided to join us. We are in for a treat today. We have some wonderful guests with us. We're going to talk about some various topics. We have guests from Florida. We have guests from Rochester, New York, and Buffalo, New York this evening. And so we are going to begin this show where we have a slogan. Let's gel, let's grow, let's earn, let's learn. And we're going to gel together. Our first guest this evening is Miss Myzelia Henry. She is a student. She's pursuing higher education. She's very active in ministry in the Rochester, Niagara Falls, Lackawanna, Buffalo, New York area, the Great Lakes region. She is an entrepreneur and she's working to build her business and her communication skills. So Miss Myzelia, let's hear from you.
Hello, thank you again, everyone. Hope all is well. And as she stated, my name is Myzelia Henry. I'm currently a representative for a brand called Cutco. If you have never heard of it, it's a high kitchen cutlery that satisfies all your kitchen needs. We sell mainly knives, but we do have other accessories as well. All of our customers love Cutco because of our forever guarantee and our excellent quality. Besides being a representative, I do attend Buffalo State, and this job actually helps me with a chance to win a scholarship. I would greatly appreciate someone who's just willing to listen to my presentation, give me feedback, and if you do decide to purchase something, I give you the best deal as well. Everything is via Zoom, so it is virtual. You guys can contact me through my cell phone number, which is 585-622-8684. Again, I want to thank everyone who will be supporting me in my educational journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myzelia. That's just beautiful. And I'm excited about the presentation. I can't wait to hear more about Cutco and to add to my collection. So Ms. Myzelia, one more time for the listening audience and the viewers, please tell us the best way to contact you.
Yes, the best way to contact me is my cell phone number, which is 585-622-8684.
Thank you so much. We're expecting great things and we are looking forward to your success. And we're just being thankful and grateful for that scholarship in advance. So congratulations to you. Best wishes on your journey and you stay safe out there. I know that you'll be working this evening. And so we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come because you are uniquely different.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you. Next on our show, we have one who I've known for many, many years. She actually was a childhood friend. We've grown up. We were teenagers together. We went through some of life's best journeys together, and we're still continuing on that road. And so we're going to hear from Miss LaDonna Blackburn. We've been partners in ministry. We've shared as candy stripers together. We've been junior musicians at the church. We were ushers. We were in the choir. We worked in the kitchen, put on Mother's Day dinners. If it could happen, we did it. And so our families have united. We spent many holidays together. And it's just been wonderful knowing Miss LaDonna Blackburn. She is a mother. She is a wife. She is a sister. And she's a dear friend. And so without any further ado, Miss LaDonna Blackburn is going to talk to us and introduce to us her journey and how people can get involved with homeschooling and be effective with homeschooling. So Miss LaDonna, tell us about homeschooling.
So thank you for the introduction, Carla. I appreciate that. So some people may say, or ask, what is homeschooling? So homeschooling is basically educating in the home as opposed to the traditional brick and mortar school setting. And of course, homeschooling, it looks different for each family situation. I've seen many different types of homeschooling in my years, which I think we're coming up on our 13th year of homeschooling. So I've seen homeschooling being done many different ways, but basically it's just outside of your traditional brick and mortar setting. So, there are some steps that people should follow if they, think that they want to take this route. So as Christians, we prayed, we talked about it and then we said, okay, we better pray about it because it is a big decision. It's a big step. It affects your, your family, your definitely your kids. So we prayed about it and we truly felt the Lord was pulling us in that direction. So that's what we decided to do. So after that, you need to check out your state's homeschooling guidelines so that you can be in compliance with that. So each state is different. I can say we've homeschooled in the state of Kentucky and in the state of Florida, and the guidelines are totally different. So we had to learn new guidelines once we moved to Florida, just to make sure that we're, following the state guidelines, because the last thing you want is for somebody to come knocking at your door saying, where are your kids and why aren't they in school? So that's like the first thing. Next, I would suggest finding a support group in your area. So of course, we're in the midst of a pandemic, so a lot of groups aren't meeting, but there are a lot of homeschool groups. When I moved to Florida, I just went to that Facebook search and said homeschool groups in Jacksonville, and a long list popped up. So again, there's different types of homeschooling, so there's different types of groups. So you just find the one that best fits your situation. Next, I would say research curriculum to find out what best fits your child learning style. So that was a good thing for us. And I kind of share that when I get to the benefits about homeschooling, was learning my kids' learning style. Like, I have one who's hands-on. So, sitting there looking at a book didn't always mesh with him too well. So I found a science curriculum where you learn through doing different experiments. So that light bulb came on, like, okay, this is his learning style. He likes to use his hands. So that's a good thing. And there's many, many, many different types of curriculum out there. But again, just finding the one that fits your child's learning style is very important. Next, work the curriculum into your schedule. Some parents say, well, I work from home. So, okay, well, your schedule doesn't have to fit the traditional school schedule. Your child can go to night school. They can, do their work after, or see what work they can do independently and then work that into your schedule. But it's just all about working it in and working together. So in thinking of benefits of homeschooling, the number one thing for me was just finding their learning style. And once we realized that, it made things much easier for me and them, because they were learning according to their style, not a style being forced onto them. And the other thing was the selecting of the curriculum, which I mentioned earlier. And another thing was being able to teach and reach them on their level. So my oldest daughter, she didn't necessarily like all the what do you want to call it? Like just all the cartoony type stuff when she was learning how to read. So I would put on the Hooked on Phonics and she's watching these characters just bounce all over the screen. And, she just looks extremely bored. So when it came down to pulling out the workbook and actually pulling out a pencil and writing, that's when she perked up. So I'm like, okay, so she's not all about the games with play. She just want to learn. So, that was good for me to learn that again. It makes it easier for both of y'all. So what they're, know how to reach them. But then with benefits, there's also challenges. So some of the challenges that I thought of was you as a parent have to be intentional in finding the physical and social activities for your children. You can't depend on the school to take them on a field trip. That's something that you have to do. But even now during the pandemic, there's so many virtual activities that's out there. I mean, my girls, they did virtual summer camps with Girl Scouts. So, they do a lot of virtual things with the library. So it's a lot of things out there where you can still stay in touch, but you're just not, physically around people. Choosing curriculum could be challenging. So this would be a good time to attend a homeschool convention, which we've done that for several years. You go to these conventions and they have vendors with all the curriculum. But again, we're in a pandemic, so you have to do things differently. So a lot of the curriculum companies, they will have samples of their curriculum online where you can go and you can do a sample lesson of English or math. And some of them, they probably doing things differently because of the pandemic as well. So if you see a curriculum, you like it, you can't actually get your hands on it, call the company and say, hey, I would like to try it out. Maybe they'll send you a sample at no charge. I don't know, but I'm sure they're doing things to work with people as well. So just my final thoughts about just going back to the homeschool convention. It was good for me and my family because you had a chance to meet other homeschool families. You can get information and encouragement from workshops because they'll have sessions for moms, dads, caretakers, grandparents, and even for the children. Because it is an adventure and you need some encouragement along the way. Even after 12, 13 years, I still need that encouragement. And it also did good for family time. So we would just, plan a weekend out of it and just pack up as a family and go and attend a workshop. Some sessions, I noticed they would put them at the end of the day. They were more like relaxation sessions where you can just breathe and, share some of the struggles that you may be having. And there's always someone else in that room who's had that struggle and that can help encourage you through it. So that is all I had about homeschooling and just all the information I have.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Lizana, for talking about homeschooling. Certainly, it is definitely an important option, particularly during the time of pandemic. We know that there are challenges and people have preferences, people have fears, they have concerns, even about children returning to school. So I can appreciate the fact that there are options, and that's amazing that you've been able to share in that experience and to share on that journey. I do have a question for you. In regards to homeschooling activities, I know that you mentioned Girl Scouts. What other types of activities do they have?
So they have co-ops. So the co-ops are basically parents who they homeschool their children, but they've opened themselves to join a group to homeschool, maybe teach a subject or an elective to other students. So my daughters were a part of a co-op here. And again, with the pandemic, they're not meeting like they used to, but my daughters did baking, karate. They've done different writing classes. And even in Kentucky, they had a science workshop. So it was like a 2-day workshop where you go, 2 mornings, do a couple of hours. They would have lunch and everything for them. They would have labs and they were dissecting. It just blew my mind, the stuff that was out there. And the library is a good resource because a lot of times they will have certain days set aside for homeschool families to come in. So we've done that here as well. Art activities, reading time, just it's so much out there.
Do they have sports available for children and young people that participate in homeschooling programs?
Yes. And basically it would be parents that say, we want our child to be involved in physical activity. So you know what, we're going to contact the Y. We're going to talk to maybe this Parks and Rec and see if we can rent out space and do, once a week homeschool sports. So we've had that as well. We've done, I think they were doing kickball or something at one of the Parks and Rec. And even in Kentucky, they had it was the same thing where, it was just a family that said, we're going to do this. And you get so many families to sign up. And, but it gives the kids time to be together and they're, work out that physical activity and also socialize.
Ms. LaDonna, thank you so much for sharing with us and teaching us about homeschooling. Certainly, you are definitely an expert in the field when it comes to homeschooling. And so you all have done a phenomenal job. And I'm just glad that you were able to come and join us. So we thank you so very much for your participation.
You're welcome.
Next up, we're going to hear from a young minister in the Rochester, New York area. He is active in his community. I know him to be a phenomenal planner. He's an organizer. He definitely knows the Word of God. And his name is Reverend William Thomas. He is actually active in the Great Lakes region as well. And he's going to talk to us today about how to deal with change. So Reverend Thomas, please give us some words of encouragement during these trying times on how we can deal with change.
And definitely, certainly want to say good evening to everyone. Certainly, I do want to thank Carla Murphy again for allowing me to have this platform and share with you. It is my goal tonight just to give you a couple of inspirational words around the word of change. Um, as most of us can attest over the last year of our lives, change can be a theme to each and every one of our lives, dealing with this pandemic, political unrest, social unrest, the things that are going on in our different, in our land and in our world. The word change pops up in everything, whether it's changing an administration as far as our political climate, or changing the way we do things. 1 year ago at this time, we wouldn't even thought of getting on Zoom and having these type of conversations. This was foreign to us, but because of our circumstances, we were pushed forward into change. And change can be a scary thing. And the reason why I asked to talk on this topic was just wanted to encourage someone who's watching us today that change does not always have to be scary. It was the great philosopher Socrates who said that the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. It's about embracing the things that are to come and finding new ways and new concepts to do things. There are many benefits to change. There are many benefits to being flexible and to being able to alter yourself. The number one thing that comes to my mind is personal growth. Through change, we grow. Through change, we have new experiences, we have new opportunities, we have new ways of tackling old issues. It all comes by first embracing the change that comes with it. A lot of times we look at our world and our world is constantly moving, but it seems like our organizations are stagnant. Why? Because we don't like to change with the times. We don't like to progress forward. I know that's one of the challenges that we have in the body of Christ. We like to continue to do things from 1990 and 1980 and 1970. One of my younger people, Keenan, is laughing at me, but we don't like change. We're resistant to it within the church realm. And then we wonder why our attendance, our participation is the way it is because we haven't met people where they are now, and we weren't willing to change our programming to meet them and to meet our intended audience where they are at the current moment. So what my encouraging word for you tonight is, whatever it is that God has been knocking on your heart to change, whether it's a lifestyle change, whether it's an academic change, whether it's a change of your own personal circle, change of your familial, your friends, embrace that change. Embrace that change in two ways. Number one, always consistently pray and ask God for his guidance and direction on making that change. And number two, ask for boldness. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. We must protect our mind because transition is scary and can push us to our breaking point. It can push us to limits beyond our own imagination. But once we go outside of our comfort zone, we find ourselves in the will of God. Because as we step out of our comfort zone and step into his perfect plan and permissive will for our lives, God has a way of directing and ordering our steps, because as the Bible says, the steps of a good man or good woman are certainly ordered by the Lord. So definitely tonight, my encouraging word for you is whatever God is pushing you to, although it may be different, although it may be uncomfortable, although it may not make sense to you, it makes sense to him. And he will never leave you somewhere where he has brought you to. When God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it, and he'll also help you overcome it. So definitely embrace the change that God is bringing to your life, and still keep your hand in the master's hand, and everything will be okay. So certainly I want to thank Carla Murphy again for allowing me to have these few moments to talk to you all. And definitely I want to say to each one of you, God bless, and I look forward to the changes that you'll be making in your own individual lives.
Reverend Thomas, thank you so much. I feel better.
Thank you.
I feel better.
To God be the glory.
To God be the glory. It's so true when it comes to change. As I shared on a previous episode, I challenged myself personally at the beginning of the pandemic I challenge myself to start something that matters, I challenge myself to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to stretch beyond my limits, and to learn something new. So that really is wonderful, wonderful confirmation and encouragement to anyone who is looking to improve themselves, to become greater, because we know that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, whether male or female, boy or girl. The Lord has really blessed each of us, and He's equipped us to be all that we can be. He's equipped us to have abundant life. And so, Reverend Thomas, thank you so much. Many blessings to you and your family. And we are grateful that you took the time out to come and join us tonight. And it's so important to talk about how to deal with change, because we are all facing changes that were unforeseen. So thank you very, very much for encouraging us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Mr. Keenan Glover, he's a young man from the Rochester, New York area. He's been very active in ministry as well. We know him to be one who is a student. He's pursuing higher education. He's an entrepreneur. We love youngpreneurs at the Carla Murphy Show. So he is a young entrepreneur. He is getting his journey started. He is actually looking to study. We're praying him through in preparation for law school, if it be the Lord's will. We thank God in advance for what he can do. And so, Keenan, we are excited about you. He's given leadership to young men within the Rochester, the Great Lakes, Empire State area and regions. And he has helped young men to be young men for Christ, to be young men and productive in society, to be respectful, and to be leaders among leaders. And so we're going to hear from Mr. Keenan Glover, who's going to talk about balancing life in a pandemic. Mr. Keenan, welcome to the Carla Murphy Show, and it's in your hands.
Well, thank you so much, Carla, for that wonderful introduction. I truly appreciate you giving me this opportunity to simply express myself and share the good news and let people know what I have been doing since March of 2020. What a year we have been through. It seemed like it changed overnight like that. Something that was known. I mean, I can remember it being November of 2019, and I'm thinking about coronavirus coming across my timeline about in China. You know, I was getting retweets and shared posts about it, but it really didn't hit until I can say, until the NBA caught their first case of coronavirus. So I think, you know, as time goes on, we become more aware as a unit of what is going on around us. And we begin to adapt within ourselves as others change around us. So I can remember when quarantine first broke out, everybody in school wanted to go online so we can have that break. You know, we had a little humor and lightheartedness about it because the news wasn't covering it as much as they are now about the depths and the deepness of COVID-19. The theme of my story won't be sad at all. It will show how, although COVID-19 has been such a tragedy, quarantine for me turned out to be a fruitful opportunity. Now, when I say that, it causes a lot of stir of emotions because people mix up the word quarantine with COVID-19, but the two are different. See, COVID-19 is what's crippling us. Quarantine is what's saving us. Wash your hands, stay away from people, communicate differently as we are tonight. And what a story I have for you. My story started off traditional. I grew up in a two-parent household, mother, father, siblings, and I was a star student. I went off to Howard University in 2012, but something happened. I had a chemical imbalance within my body that caused a mental illness called schizophrenia, called bipolar disorder. Away in DC, 8 hours from home, whatever will I do? How will I recover from this? Being the perfect person I thought I was, came to a screeching halt. I found myself in Howard University's hospital in the psych ward, where I was first diagnosed the week before Thanksgiving in 2014 of November. I got home, went back, fell ill again. Went back home, went back to Howard, fell ill again. Something just wasn't sticking. Something just wasn't right. So I had to get myself together. And I went on a 4-year mental health journey that brought me to SUNY Brockport here in Rochester, New York, my hometown, where I transferred my credits and let Howard be what it was. An incredible time that didn't end so well, but I have no salt about it because my future is so bright. I made my way to SUNY Brockport. And when I got up to last March, I was a part-time worker at Subway, taking 5 classes online, balancing extracurricular activities such as Toastmasters, such as the hospitality and youth department at my church. So it was something I wasn't ready for. I really wasn't. By the time midterms hit is when they decided the week after midterms, we would begin online classes. And what a moment that was for me, because when my midterm grades came back, I was at risk of being put on academic probation. But thank God for quarantine, because I was able to stay home, save on gas, sleep a little more, preserve my energy to make sure that I can make things happen in the future. For I did not want to fall back into the traps that I've been in the past. But I kept marching on. I finished the March classes with flying colors. Summer of 2020, I took one summer class and kept it moving at Subway, pressing and pushing along. By the fall of 2020, I was taking 4 online classes and 1 hybrid class. Yes, half online, half on campus. Still 5 classes, but no job. I had to sit back and reevaluate myself. I have been working hard. I tried to prove myself that I have been redeemed. I wanted an exclamation point next to my redemption, and I had it. And when I let my job go, I realized that it was my time to reevaluate what really matters in this moment in my life, which is school. School, school, school. Quarantine has helped me to slow down and smell the coffee brewing. See the sun rise in the morning. Slow down. Tell someone you love them. Go and give them a call. Simple lines of communication keep us going, has kept me going, and it will bring us through. In the future, I do plan on going to law school. I plan on running my entrepreneurial business, Black Opportunity Collaborative, where I do career coaching. I am going to get back into the job force. I have a job offer from the Mental Health Association as a career coach. So I am really putting together my fruits and my veggies to make a good plate.
Yeah.
I can say that I am blessed. I am pushing through, and we all have something to be grateful for throughout this pandemic. And I want to thank Carla Murphy for letting me express that to you all. Thank you so much.
Mr. Keenan, you are welcome. And that's an amazing story that you shared, a wonderful testimony and an encouragement to all of us to keep pushing no matter what. Pray until something happens. Stay in God's word, stay focused, stay around the right people. And I know greatness is coming. I'm already thanking God in advance for what he's going to do with
absolutely in all of our lives.
in all of our lives, absolutely. So, Mr. Keenan, thank you so much for all that you do to pour into the lives of young people, to encourage young adults. And I'm excited for your journey and your new career. And we know that no good thing will God withhold from you when you walk uprightly. So that's my word to you for today. We thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing with us on the Carla Murphy Show. And Mr. Keenan, you are uniquely different.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
Hey, Mama.
welcome. You're welcome. Mr. Omar Overstreet. These are just such powerful topics we're hearing about. And Mr. Omar is going to talk to us about financial injustice. He is one who is a part of the Buffalo, New York community. He is a manager. He works in a large financial institution. He gives leadership. We know him to be committed. We know him to operate in integrity. We know him to know about money and finance. And that's a topic that we all could use some helpful advice, some information, and resources. I've known Mr. Omar Overstreet for many, 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 many years. And so we've shared lots of fun times together, our families. Miss LaDonna, she knows as well. And so it's always a blessing when we can grow up together, we can all stay together, we can move forward together, we can celebrate one another, we can help to push each other and pull each other along. And so, Mr. Omar, we thank you for all of the sacrifices that you do in this community, working long hours, working hard to make sure that our communities get equality and that we get the information that is well deserved. So, Mr. Omar Overstreet, we would love to hear about financial injustice, and it's in your hands.
Thank you, Carla, so much for you having me on your show, and to the esteemed panelists, Sister Blackburn, Mother Glover, the Reverend. Thank you guys so much. I was inspired here just listening to you, to be honest with you, because in the financial world, a lot of the problems we have is that the information isn't being shared the way it should be shared. It's just like when the Bible says we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. That is a spiritual knowledge that the Bible is referring to. But we are destroyed financially for the same reason, for a lack of knowledge. Some people don't know their credit score. Some people don't know what to do with their bank account. Some people get overdraft fees. Some people don't know that they should be starting to save for retirement as soon as they start working. There was a survey out the other day where they said 65% of America is unsure about their financial stability. That's over half the nation. Glory be to God that He has gave me a platform to take care of stuff one person at a time. I am a member of the Small Business Administration Cares team. I was honored as a Black Achiever, also honored as the Black Achiever of the Year in my industry. And I am dedicated to getting out there and talking to the people, whether you're buying a car, buying a house, saving for retirement. Let's do it the right way. Because we get the short end of the stick sometimes as a people, as far as demographically of where we live, that we don't get that information. I think people have a false narrative that you need money to have a financial advisor. That's not the case. You can be broke and have a financial advisor. You should always consult with one. If you're feeling sick, you should go to the doctor. So if there's something going on, you want to buy a car, and you say, I just had somebody a little while ago, hey, listen, I want to get this car. I'm at the dealership. I said, no, don't go to the dealership. Go to the credit union, due to the fact that going to the dealership and letting them finance it, there's an extra fee with letting them finance it. And so, and the credit union rate is lower. But there's a lot of stuff going on today that we need to be knowledgeable about. And I am just just doing God's work, to be honest with you. This is something that He placed me at. I was working in West Seneca, and I wasn't thinking about coming to the city. Actually, it was a Bible study I went to on a Wednesday when I was actually on my way to get some food. I wasn't even going to go to Bible study, but where I was going to get food at was on the way to church. And I said, let me go to church. And I went to church, and Pastor Blackburn talked about a few things and talked about, no matter what you're doing, don't be scared to make a lateral move. And that next day, I made a decision, to come work in the city. I've been to Rochester. There was a redlining thing going on in Rochester where the mayor brought me in and we talked about redlining. That's where, we can't get loans because of where we live. So there's a red line right there and the way how to combat this stuff. But education is key, and no matter what we're doing. And so my thoughts always have been the same, is no matter if you got $1 or $1 million, let me talk to you. If you got $1, if we save $1 a day, that's $365 in a year. If we save $25 a week, that's $1,250 roughly a year. There's always a way to save. And, and when I talk to people, I don't go in their tithe money. I don't do any of that. That's not my job. My job is to show you how to budget. If you can budget, it's like you budget out the tithe, pay yourself, but don't shortchange anybody, don't shortchange your obligation to God by any stretch of the imagination. So, I'm just out here just doing what I can. If Shayna watches, I'm sorry, because I know I've been working some long hours, and somebody did mention something to me about it. But this is where I've been drawn to do. There's a company, Financial Advisors Incorporated, who is a non-for-profit, who they're actually going to pay people to go to consumer credit counseling and straighten out their credit. And I've been asked to be president of it. I am going to accept it. I am going to take that on as well. You have to work wise day, because there comes a time where, where no man can work. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm also did Toastmasters as well. And so Toastmasters kind of gave me a platform when I was at Bank of America, because when I was at Bank of America, they sent me to Las Vegas, Riverside, California, and Des Moines, Iowa. And that was the time where there was a real bad shortage as far as the mortgage crisis. And it was pretty sad, where people were losing their houses, families. It was sad because at that time, you didn't need a criteria to get a house. You could be working at McDonald's. They would say, okay, here's a house. But later on, you wouldn't be able to afford that house. So there are a lot of, nooks and crannies. I keep my spiritual up. And 2020 was a trying year. I worked every day. I haven't been quarantined. I've been meeting with people the whole time. Nothing has stopped me. But it comes to a wise lady named Sister Cook that told me that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. And so that's where everything's come from. That's where my strength comes from. That's where my focus has been since I got back in the church. And and it doesn't matter. Sometimes you slip off and fall off. I fell off, but I came back because I always, it's something about the Word of God that makes you come back. And I didn't know how I was going to tie this in with money, but at the same time, my goal is to tell you the truth.
That's right.
And so that's the same goal that God had, is so that we have the truth and our eyes are open. So if anybody has any financial questions whatsoever, they can call me, contact me. And my office number is 716-892-4051. I have clients from here to Seattle, Washington. I am working with the PPP program, which churches are getting. And if you do belong to a church and they are not getting the PPP, please give me a call. They can get the PPP. It is free money. Anything $150,000 and under is forgiven. So there is some stuff there. Usually the SBA doesn't work for non-for-profits, but in this case they are. So it's just a lot of stuff out there. You know, once again, the panel is so great, and you know, I can't say enough about my man Keenan over there. He inspired me so much. I was just listening to him and the great word by the Reverend and Sister Blackburn. And thank you, Sister Murphy, for even just having me on.
You are welcome. We're so honored, and congratulations to you for all of your successes. We know that we are all better together, and so we're going to continue to pray you through this journey, and just so grateful to have a man of God who is working to help to resource and to help to build God's kingdom. For certainly we have to do God's work no matter where we go. And so thank you for letting your light shine so that men might see your good works and that God will be glorified. And so we're just grateful and thankful for you, Mr. Omar Overstreet. We're happy to have with us Ms. Brenda Billups, who is a returning guest here at the Carla Murphy Show. She is from the Rochester, New York area. We all know Ms. Brenda Billups to be a willing worker, active in ministry in all different phases with young people, older people, in the kitchen, cleaning up, decorating, organizing events. Ms. Brenda definitely helps keep it all together. So Ms. Brenda Billups, we're going to hear from you about volunteering. Yes, we all must find time to give back. Ms. Brenda Billups.
Thank you, Carla Murphy.
You are welcome.
Yes, don't forget to give back. Volunteer your time. But take this one point. Don't over volunteer yourself like I did tonight. I've been into 3 meetings, and one, Omar, was my Toastmasters meeting. I am the program quality director in Toastmasters of District 65. That is long volunteer work, and I've been volunteering there for 5 years. However, I started this volunteer journey back in 1974, the day my oldest daughter stepped foot in number 19 school. Because I believe if the parents participate, the kids would do better. The teachers would do better. The whole school will do better. Because they see that connection, that unity that you would bring to the school as a family. And not all kids have a family. And sometimes they look for support from others. And I always been that, try to be that support for other children. So I would volunteer in the school. I would do tutoring. We had a group from Rochester Telephone at the time called the Pioneers. And we would go to the schools and we would help the kids with their reading and their writing. We would go on our lunch hours, travel to the schools, help the kids. And for some reason, I always try to keep a connection with those kids because a lot of them, as I said, needed help. And I always like to take them presents. So they would love to see Miss B coming. Oh, here come Miss B. What you have in your bag today? That's for me to know and you to find out. But sometimes we have to entice the kids a little bit to get them to do things. That's all in volunteering. I volunteer at my church for the senior citizens and for the youth department. Those of you that's in between, you're on your own. I will get to you when you get older. We have a senior citizen group where before we shut down, we serve them breakfast once a month, supposedly been healthy, but Keenan would know, they would ask, and so would Reverend Thomas, where's the bacon, baby? They didn't believe in that turkey bacon. They wanted the real deal. We would give them gift packages with household supplies, things that you could not buy with regular your food stamps and different things like that. So I always like to volunteer where I can support families, support others that do not have. Now, you don't go into volunteering to get something. You go to give, but just by chance, they decide to give you a token, a star for being a good volunteer. That's okay. Take it with grace. Move on and continue your journey. Because it's not about you being seen, it's about you doing work. I volunteer for a program at our church. I'm the outreach director. And we had some people that were on social service that needed to volunteer their time in order to keep the resources coming in. I work with many men, and they would always say, "Aren't you afraid to be in the church with those strangers? You don't know them." I know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And if they weren't right, they didn't get in the door. And I always pull my children in to volunteer. Reverend Thomas, Keenan, they know. Every Thanksgiving, they know they need 2 turkeys because we make baskets to give to our senior citizens. And when I don't call them, they call me because I teach them they need to give back. Teach a little one to give back. My youngest son cried because he had to give up a stuffed animal. At Christmas time, I would take them to Midtown, where there was an angel tree with children names on the tree with suggested gifts they wanted. The particular kid wanted a bear. I took the kids to Burlington and he bought the bear. And I said, "Okay, Chaz, we need to wrap that up and take it back to Midtown so we can give it to the kid." And when we did that, that kid cried and cried and cried. So the next year, when we went shopping, he bought 2 of the same thing so he could give away one and keep one. But regardless how you do it, you are going to give back because someone gave to you. If it's only time, give it back. Make it useful. Make your life more meaningful by extending yourself to others. I love helping others, and that's why I have volunteered for many, many things. I have received awards, and I count that a blessing that someone did recognize the work that I was doing. But only what you do for God will last. And that is what I do, to help others, regardless of whether I'm volunteering, volunteering, donateering, whatever. Your life will be much better when you give back and see the fruit of your labor. Thank you, Carla Murphy, for this opportunity again, and I hope to see you soon.
You are welcome. Thank you so much, Miss Brenda. This has been an amazing, amazing show, and I'm just so grateful that each of you took the time to come and be a part, to share on these various topics. I know that families they've been enriched tonight. They've been encouraged, and I know that they are going to take this information, our viewers and our listening audience. I know that I'm excited about benefiting from some of this information, and I will be calling some of you as we move forward in terms of how we can all become greater. And so we're coming to the close of another show. I would just like to thank each of you for being a part of the Carla Murphy Show, where we are uniquely different. Let's continue to gel, let's grow, let's earn, let's learn together. And for those of you who are looking to share your greatness with the world, please give me a call at area code 716-553-3109. That's area code 716-553-3109. We would love to feature you, and you on our uniquely different showcase. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. The Carla Murphy Show, uniquely different. Bye.